hear of his passing.
There is no life I know to compare with your imagination.
Wilder died from the complications of Alzheimer's disease. His family said they'd kept the illness private because he couldn't bear the idea of one less smile in the world. And for the countless young children, they said, who would still smile or call out to him, there's Willy Wonka. Greg Milam, Sky News, Los Angeles.
Well, let's speak to the Willy Wonka enthusiast, Gregor Gee, who's in Los Angeles. Gregor, thanks a lot for joining us. Such a sad day today, but really, he really lived his life to the fullest, didn't he?
He certainly did, and I think that reflects on screen as well. I mean, any interview I've ever saw of Gene, you know, he always talks about what a wonderful life he's had. And he's been very lucky because, you know, he's always had the best of people around him and co-stars. So I think he's had very much an enjoyable career.
Now, Gregor, you met Gene, didn't you?
I haven't actually met Gene. I have worked with Gene through my company. I work with over 600 celebrities every single year, and Gene Wilder was a bit of an exception because I admire the man so much. I didn't actually want to meet him, even though I've had many opportunities to, because I didn't want to be disappointed in any way. There's two stars that I really admire. One is Judy Garland, who unfortunately is not alive anymore, and Gene Wilder's the other one. So I didn't want to tarnish my admiration for him in any way.
He did have this universal appeal. Gregor, what do you think it was about him that appealed to so many people just across the world?
I think it was because he was the antithesis of a typical Hollywood star. He was a very, you know, he didn't look like a star, he didn't act like a star. He was very much the underdog, the unassuming star, and I think that's why so many people around the world took to him, because you wanted him to be your friend.
What about his friendship and his collaboration with Mel Brooks, and how much did that relationship help with his success, do you think?
Oh, very much so. I mean, Gene Wilder really was not a big name when he made Willy Wonka, and he was certainly making a name for himself, but it was really Mel Brooks that put him on the map, so to speak. And it's funny because I see Mel Brooks all the time in Beverly Hills. He's there every week having his lunch, so I see him very often.
And let's talk about Willy Wonka. I must say I like your hat, Gregor. But let's talk about Willy Wonka. So many people who've been writing into us and tweeting us say that they have such vivid childhood memories from that film. What was it, do you think, about that film that has stuck in our minds for so many years?
That's a really interesting question, because what a lot of people don't realise about Willy Wonka was it was a complete flop. Even when I was a kid, it wasn't the classic it is today. It only really started to take off when VHS came out and they used to show it on television at Christmas. But I think for me personally, I always knew from a very young age I was never going to fit into society. So I kind of saw that connection with the character Willy Wonka. People thought he was a bit strange, a bit mysterious, but beneath the kind of enigmatic character, he was, you know, he had a big heart and he was a very loving guy. And I find a lot of the traits of the character in me.
Okay, Gregor, just to finish off, how many times have you watched Willy Wonka, and what is your defining memory of Gene Wilder?
Oh my goodness! I mean, I've watched it thousands of times over the years, but you know, I've not watched it in a couple of years now, because when you know, I don't like to bore myself with it, but I've had a great time with that movie, and it will always remain a big part of my life.
Okay, Gregor, thank you so much. Gregor Gee there, who's a Willy Wonka enthusiast, talking to us from LA. Brazil